Hey everybody, this is vlog 22. It is November 4th, and there's already been don't let me see it on November 5th, but earlier today a hacker known by, what was his alias? Oh, what was he? It started with a P. It was like a PH or PY. He hit a couple sites. He hit NBC's sites and yeah, and knocked them out for a while today. And of course, there's always there was the threat, of course, of more more hacking going to happen tomorrow, or at least starting at midnight tonight, because it will be November 5th, which, for those of you who do not know, and because if you're not British, you probably have never heard of it, or you could have just passing by heard about it. You know, because there's this graphic novel that was written by Alan Moore and inked by oh God, what was his name? Oh my God, I can't wait for the guy's name. Holy crap, I gotta find it out, or I'm gonna lose my mind. David Lloyd. It became popularized with the release of the Wachowski brothers, Wachowski, how do you say them? The people who did The Matrix. They made a movie called V for Vendetta, which is the same name as the graphic novel, but it changes. The movie is quite different than the comic. In fact, Alan Moore, the guy who wrote it, said that the movie was absolutely an abomination. It was terrible, and he condemned it in every way. But you gotta know something about Alan Moore. He says that about everything. Any of his work that he's done, any of his literature and whatnot, if it's transported to a different medium, he doesn't like it, because he doesn't see that, or he doesn't feel like people can really, Hollywood couldn't really make a movie about V for Vendetta, because, I mean, it's quite a long graphic novel. I mean, there's so much dialogue that you are literally reading a novel's worth of. If you were to just take all the speech bubbles and put them down onto paper, and it would be a full-length novel. Only this, being a graphic novel, has pictures. David Lloyd did the illustration of the graphic novel. And V for Vendetta, those of you who, it takes place in Europe, specifically in London. He's an anarchist. This character V, he's an anarchist, and in the movie, he's played out to be not anarchist, but to be a sort of anti-establishment, sort of left-wing, extreme left-wing character. Um, like Alan Moore himself said that he said the story was, they changed the story to fit with the allegory of the U.S. President, or former President, George W. Bush. And even though the movie and the graphic novel, they both take place in London. And so you have this political deal where he's a terrorist. In the graphic novel, he is also a murderer. In the movie, he's not shown to be as much of a murderer. He does go around and he does kill people, but these are people who he deems that they don't deserve to live because of the horrible, despicable things that they've done in their lives, and which has directly affected V himself. But I won't spoil too much for you. I mean, you might have seen the movie. If you liked the movie and you really liked some of the political and the sort of Big Brother stuff, go pick up the graphic novel. It's a fantastic read. Alan Moore's words, his speech as V and Evie and the inspectors, every character is so much more fleshed out in the graphic novel. Also, basically, if you've seen the movie before you've read the graphic novel, then you need to take everything you know about that movie and just ignore it, because except for a couple certain scenes, you basically just ignore it. V's a much different animal, and he's a different person, or he's not really a person. He has a form of hyperkinesia, which basically means he can view the world in slow motion, while he can move faster than a normal human would be able to move, but he views the time that goes by as much slower, so he's able to perform various martial arts and other things, especially dealing with he uses throwing knives, like vaudeville style. You throw the knife at the bull's eye with the pretty girl tied to it as it spins around and around. And in the comic, he wears different masks. It's not just the same one mask that everybody knows of now. But tomorrow is Guy Fawkes Day in in Britain, and so there's people who celebrate it. The anonymous community, it has sort of taken it as its flag, basically, where V represents, standing up against, the installed government, if you want to even call it a government, and but anyway, it's an important day in history because it was back in 1490. is it 1490 or 1480, somewhere along one of those decades. There were Guy Fawkes and a group of other well, they were basically terrorists. Um, they tried to blow up Parliament, and it was known as the Gunpowder Plot. Of course, it was foiled. Fawkes, Guy Fawkes was set to, and he was in charge of the explosives, and he ends up getting caught before he can actually set anything up, and then he is within the next couple days he's put to a very quick trial and then hung by the neck until death. But the idea is really what it is about. Not necessarily the man, but the idea. A famous line that's, I'm not sure if it's in the graphic novel, but I know it's in the movie. V mentions near the end of the film, he says that he says that ideas are bulletproof. And so therefore, if you believe strong enough in an ideal, or an idea, nothing can break that. And here I am spending freaking 12 minutes just talking about a comic book. But I've always, I remember reading V for Vendetta back before the movie came out. I didn't own it. I didn't own it then. I will admit this. I did not own it personally, the graphic novel, until after the movie. But I did actually read it before the movie came out. I had a friend who also was big into graphic novels and comics, and he had a copy. He was like, "Dude, you have to read this." He said, "It's right up your alley." I was like, "Okay." So I remember sitting down and reading it, and just, I mean, I would lose myself in this book. I mean, not only were the pictures, the illustrations amazing, but the dialogue was so real feeling. And that's one thing that Alan Moore really can do very well, is he makes things seem, or his dialogue is so fresh and it makes sense. He doesn't fuck around at all. Excuse my language. Actually, you know what? Don't excuse my language. I don't know why I said that. I never excuse myself for cursing. I don't even know why I just did that. But anyway, this is just a random. This is just be a random post because really nothing's been going on. I kind of a little messed up today because the time change. The time change always screws with me. It screws with me when the DST, whenever it starts and whenever it ends, it always screws me up. The whole thing is people are like, "Oh, you're getting an hour extra of sleep." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, but it totally screws with my mind." And really, it used to not be that bad. It used to be really not a big deal to me at all. But then, with this mental illness, and the various psychoses that I have, time changes like that. I mean, even though it's just an hour, it changes significantly. You look outside, it's 5:30 and it's dark. So it's but just the day before it was 5:30 and the sun was still out. So it's just it's one of those things. It really throws you for a loop sometimes, and I'm so easily affected by time. Like, I'm not very good at managing it anymore. I used to be pretty good at it. My illnesses have destroyed that section of my mind, or rather corrupted it, so it doesn't work the same anymore. But well, we've got only a couple more days, and then we get to find out who is going to be president for the next 4 years. I'm not going to go all political on you because it's just, I see no reason for me to not really preach to you about my beliefs. I mean, I'll talk to you all day about what I believe in justice and truth and stuff like that. But I'm not going to argue with you about economic policies and left or right stuff. I'll make comments about the left or the right, but I'm not gonna get into a discussion about that because I don't really like those kind of discussions because no one ever leaves the conversation happy. Someone always leaves irritated, or they feel, I thought I knew you, and it's just like, oh, come on, man. Really, it's not that big of a deal. It's like, okay, it's like, I'll tell you this. It's like, 4 years ago I voted for Obama because, hey, he had me convinced. I was like, okay, cool. He's gonna change things and whatever. And really, to me, I mean, he became president and then I became mentally disabled. So I am now, none of that really matters to me anymore because those things don't affect. I mean, if he was running on if him or Romney was running on a platform of, mental health issues, and the fact that mental health care in the United States is freaking terrible, then yeah, I might care a little bit more. But I did go and vote the other day with my parents. We went early and voted, and so got that out of the way because that's one thing that I always say. I've known so many people, even when I was in college, and when you're given the right to vote, and people don't exercise that right to vote, I'm like, you're that irritates me because people are like, oh, well, my vote won't matter. I'm like, well, yeah, in a way, you're right, because the Electoral College exists, which is one thing I've always been opposed to ever since I, had, American history back in grade school. I always thought, I was like, I didn't really know a whole lot about politics when I was a kid and when I was in high school, but I knew enough that I knew that the Electoral College was something that needed to be eliminated because it was no longer necessary. I mean, yeah, back in the day when, California wasn't, so full of people, or, Montana wasn't, colonized whatsoever, or New York City held the most, had the highest population, so they're going to get so many this or that, and it's just ridiculous. So I think the Electoral College is a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. Besides, if this is truly a democracy, which it is a democracy, but the one thing people forget all the time is that technically we're a republic. We're a democratic republic. Um, and so being a republic is different than just being a democracy. I mean, anywhere can be a democracy as long as you have multiple parties and they vote. Like, I'm gonna throw out there Italy, for example. Italy has like 30 freaking political parties. I mean, Italy hasn't been very well. I mean, yeah, they've been. It's not like they're a bad country or anything. It's just after World War II, there was just so many different viewpoints on where to take the country, and so I mean, just carried over. Excuse me. Yeah, I will not excuse my cursing, but I will excuse my belches and what have you, because I know that irks some people. But anyway, getting ready to hit 21 minutes, and I've talked about nothing but comic books and a little bit of politics. So anyway, maybe I'll make a post tomorrow. Maybe I'll dress up in my Guy Fawkes mask. So you wouldn't know if it's me or not. But like I've said before in my previous vlogs, go out and vote, damn it. It's your right given to you by America. Being a citizen of this country, you can vote. So please exercise it, because those people out there who say, I'm not going to vote because it doesn't count, or my vote won't matter, or it doesn't matter it doesn't matter if you vote left, right, center, it doesn't matter what affiliation you are. Go vote. But please vote intelligently. Don't just vote blindly. Be like, oh, I saw this guy had more political signs around my neighborhood than this other guy. Well, maybe those people in your neighborhood don't exactly have your same viewpoint, so you shouldn't be swayed by that nonsense. You should be knowledgeable about what's going on in your area and how it affects you. If it doesn't affect you, then it doesn't affect you. So, I mean, I don't exactly vote directly for my own benefit, but I do vote for certain people, depending on, like, I don't like voting for people in office, people who are like trial lawyers. I don't like trial lawyers holding office, because the background that my family has, trial lawyers are not, they're not nice people when comparing them to other people, So I vote for the people who are friendly to the causes that my family believes in. So that's how that works. And I've gone way over my limit, because it's almost 25 minutes. And this is nothing but me just blah blah blahing. So I'll talk to you guys later, and maybe next time I'll actually have some, well, not to say that what I said wasn't interesting, but you know what I mean. This was just like a casual chat, so not much mental stuff this time, which is good, because too much of that is it's good that I can actually function and not have to worry about some of my mental issues. And I can just get on here and talk like I'm talking to a good friend. So, thanks to everybody for watching, and see you guys later.